Imagine staring at pages of notes or a long list of facts, feeling like there is just too much to remember for your next big test. It can feel like your brain is a sieve and information just keeps slipping right through, no matter how hard you try to hold on to it. You might wonder if there is a smarter way to approach all that information. Well, I have great news for you. Yes, absolutely. Incorporating a study technique called chunking can dramatically improve your study recall. It is a remarkably effective way to make overwhelming amounts of information much more manageable and memorable. So what exactly is chunking and why does it work so well for your brain? Chunking is essentially a cognitive strategy where you break down large pieces of information into smaller, more organized, and often more meaningful units. Your short-term memory, sometimes called working memory, has a limited capacity. It can typically only hold about 5 to 9 distinct items at any given moment. By grouping related individual items into a single, larger concept or pattern, you are effectively reducing the number of separate pieces your brain needs to process and recall at one time. This allows you to store and retrieve more information efficiently, much like putting several loose items into a single, labeled container. Now for the practical part. How can you actually apply chunking to your daily studying? When you are learning new vocabulary, instead of memorizing individual words randomly, try grouping them by their shared theme, root word, or grammatical category. For historical dates and events, do not just list them. Instead, create a timeline or associate a series of events with a specific era or a major historical figure, treating that sequence as one chunk. If you are tackling complex science or math formulas, break them down into smaller, understandable components, clearly defining what each variable or section of the formula represents. Even long numbers like phone numbers or identification codes become easier to remember when you group them into smaller sequences, perhaps 3 or 4 digits at a time. When reading textbooks, after each paragraph or section, pause and condense the main ideas into 2 or 3 key points, effectively creating a summary chunk. Remember, the power of chunking comes from actively creating these groupings yourself, rather than passively accepting them. Make an effort to identify patterns, relationships, or categories within the material. This active engagement helps solidify the information. For example, if you are studying biology, group different animal species by their classification or their habitats. If it is literature, group characters by their roles or relationships. Always look for ways to impose structure on seemingly disparate facts. This method is not just about short-term memorization for a test next week. By consistently applying chunking, you are actually strengthening your brain's ability to create and access information in your long-term memory. You are helping your brain build more robust neural connections. This deeper level of processing means that when you recall one piece of a chunk, the rest of the related information becomes much easier to access. It is a fundamental strategy employed by memory champions and effective learners alike, making complex subjects feel far less intimidating. So, by thoughtfully transforming what might initially seem like an overwhelming flood of disparate details into organized, bite-sized, and meaningful mental packages, chunking fundamentally changes how you interact with your study material. It makes the entire learning process more efficient and less stressful, significantly boosts your memory's capacity, and ultimately empowers you to recall information with greater confidence and accuracy precisely when you need it most. This approach helps turn a daunting task into a manageable and rewarding learning experience.